Boomers. Boomers, boomers, boomers. Literally the most entitled, privileged snowflake generation probably in history. That's right, I said it. Now, I know how hypocritical that sounds, me sitting here in this luxury apartment with a view like that, and I'm not being entirely serious. Partially, but not entirely, so bear with me. And the fact of the matter is they literally picked their wealth up off the ground. You know, they had jobs for life, free university, $40,000 houses, and, you know, decades later they stand there with their chests puffed out, acting like they carved it themselves out of granite with their bare hands. Now, meanwhile, Millennials, Gen X's, Gen Z, you know, we're all just lazy, ungrateful, freeloaders who want nothing but avocado toast and Bali holidays without earning it. And if only we had, you know, picked ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? And that's the answer for everything. Bootstraps will solve the problem. I'm just kidding, but not really. No, I am. But before we all light our torches and dive headfirst into this rage-fueled war zone that is the comments, I just want everyone to breathe, just take a chill pill and just chill the fuck out for a second. This is YouTube. It's all a show, okay? It's a show. And a lot of content creators that you see, especially this whole generational blame game crap, it's designed to trick you. It's meant to make you angry, to make you comment. Because engagement is king. And it's what fuels the algorithm. It's exactly what they want. It's what they expect. So make no mistake. And I mean, look, yeah, like some of those comments, they hold a lot of truth. There are some truths to them, and a lot of good points from all sides out there. But I think a lot of it is bias. You know, some of it could be trauma, and a lot of it is projection. And every generation's guilty of that, including mine. So no, I'm not here to play the blame game, but I'm here to say what a lot of us are thinking. But I think a lot are just too burnt out to keep saying it. Life is fucking hard right now. Like objectively, statistically, economically, mentally, it's harder than it was for boomers by miles. You know, and I opened this video the way I did just to show you how easy it is to emotionally hijack a conversation, to fire people up before they even hear the full story. And I probably lost a lot of viewers in the first 30 seconds of this video simply because of their shallow-mindedness, their shallow-minded biases whose ideals conflicted with what I said at the start, which, if you have figured out by now, was meant to be completely satirical. Well, partially. And look, that's okay, because those are the types of people who will always choose to remain willfully ignorant to a lot of things as they are right now. But that's neither here nor there. Look, the world nowadays, it's all algorithms, it's all rage comments, it's knee-jerk reactions, but I just want to get one thing straight. It ain't 1970 anymore, and boomers, you didn't live through the Great Depression, okay? Your parents did, but not you. You didn't pull yourselves up from the ashes. You rode the wave after the fire had already been put out. Yet I still see a lot of boomers, and actually even millennials, maybe a bit older than me, for example, you know, acting like it was them, putting it on like this flex as if they went through it, when in reality they didn't. And, you know, instead of building something sustainable for your kids and your grandkids, boomers took the ladder up with them, and then you set the fucking thing on fire. Now we're left to dig through those ashes all over again. Only this time, it's more of a depression in disguise, and it's dressed up as something we should even be grateful for. Like, I'll tell you this now, the state of things is nothing to be proud of. You know, young people are told, stop spending on coffee and smashed avo toast, work harder, buy a house, get married, have kids at 20, you know, just like we did. And there's a problem with that. All you have to do is pull out the calculator. Housing prices up several 100%. Wages have literally flatlined. Inflation is fucking out of control. Mental health services and medical services are strained or non-existent. Education is literally a lifetime death sentence these days. You know, you guys bought homes for 3 times your yearly salary. We're lucky if we can rent a shoebox in a half-decent suburb without splitting it 4 or 5 ways. And in fact, according to the ABS and the Reserve Bank of Australia, home ownership among people aged between 25 and 34 has dropped by 28% over the last 3 decades. Now, That's not because we don't want it. It's because we can't afford it. Now, me personally, I have very little to complain about, right? I'm 31 and I'm in a pretty good situation. We're all human. We all find something to complain about, and I get that. You know, something could always be better, we could have a little more, but the objective reality is I'm comfortable, I'm good. But I can't say the same for a lot of Gen Y and Gen Z out there. But still they get blamed, you know, for what? For wanting a work-life balance, for seeing a therapist for their mental health, for not wanting to die for a company that lays people off through a Zoom call. You know, most of us aren't lazy. Most of us are just fucking over it, and we feel helpless. You know, we feel hopeless. And not in a bad way, like we are hopeless, just many of us literally feel like there is no hope anymore. No future to look forward to. And for those boomers who go, I work hard for my retirement, I deserve it. Cool. Yeah, that might be true. And sure, you do. I agree, you do. But be careful with how you say it. Because remember one thing, guess who's paying for that retirement right now? We are. We are. Our taxes, making your age pension possible. With our absurd rental payments inflating the value of your investment and supporting your passive incomes. Even the current interest rates, propping up your term deposits but forcing many families into mortgage hardships at the same time. And of course, with our labour, every young overworked nurse wiping your ass in aged care in the hospital, looking after you. Every overqualified teacher educating your grandkids. Every young waiter and waitress smiling through their teeth while you complain about the price of eggs. That's us. That's literally us. So maybe check the entitlement at the door and say thank you every once in a while. Respect goes both ways, and most of the time, we're not the ones punching down. You guys are. Now, to the younger generations, my people, I've also got a message for you. And the message is, let's not get too smug either. Because this whole drop out of society vibe, it might be seductive, it sounds alluring, sure, but that can be a trap as well. Yes, the system is broken, or arguably serves those who created it, but that's not the topic for today. But opting out entirely, without building something better, it's basically like handing the steering wheel to the people who crashed the car in the first place. You know, refusing a 9 to 5 could be some kind of, you might see it as some sort of rebellion, maybe. But that only works if you're building something in its place, and if you have another out, you know, if you have other possibilities like starting a business or learning a skill, you could even go as far as to say making art, you know, music, freelancing, homesteading, which a lot of people are doing now, which ain't easy, by the way, you know, or it could be short-term trading, whatever the fuck it is. But sometimes you have to swallow that job and do what you have to do to get where you want to be. And now I'm all about making the sacrifice to see the bigger picture. Do anything that pushes towards self-reliance and actual change. Don't confuse giving up with being smart, because one is quitting, but the other is strategy. And guys, like, you are smart. Gen Z, Gen Y, like, most of you are so fucking smart, it blows my mind. Like, you have so much knowledge and natural talent because you've been raised with the world's knowledge at your fingertips, literally. You know, like, you know, I like to think that I have a pretty decent amount of knowledge, and that I can do some pretty cool stuff. You know, I have a few unique talents, and I think most people on this planet do. But in saying that, I've seen my nephew, who's in his first couple of years of high school, do shit with computers and like robotics, programming, coding, that I could never in my wildest fucking dreams even think of doing. Did anyone know that's what they're teaching these kids in school these days so early on in life? Like, bro, I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, and then you have this overzealous boomer telling you that you're lazy and stupid, when I've literally had to help some of these people open an email or watch them take 10 minutes just to figure out how to pay for something at the register using the EFTPOS machine. So no, you're not stupid. And don't let their arrogance bring you down. And I just want to address the fact that just because you're a boomer doesn't mean you're automatically entitled to eternal respect just for being older. You know, just the same as we're not entitled to success just for being young and angry. Given everything that's happened with the stock market lately, and seeing millions of people lose thousands in their 401ks or their superannuations, whether you're watching from America or Australia, whatever, you know, and they've watched their retirement plans turn to dust overnight, and a lot of these older people have actually been forced back into the workforce. And I've heard young people say things like, you know, I hope boomers lose everything, so they feel how we feel. Nah, that's not the right attitude either. That's just revenge. We don't need to drag people out into the dirt and rip their throats out just because we're stronger. That's the point I'm trying to get at. And that's not strength. That's just bitterness. And the goal should be to build a better pride as a whole. You know, one that doesn't starve anybody. Not this disconnect and this, you know, I got mine, so fuck you approach so many boomers seem to have these days. And boomers, if you want our respect, then maybe actually give us some first. Because we're not lazy, we're not useless. We're the ones cleaning up your mess while still trying to build something of our own. You know, I made this video because I'm trying to be the bridge that unites us. There is a huge generational disconnect going on right now, and I'm tired of hearing biased narratives. I'm tired of hearing how lazy young people are and being told that we all just need to hustle more. And I also don't want to see this hatred and enmity building up inside young people and having it out for the older generations. So I don't think we need to keep hearing this broken record that skips over accountability and lands on blame. I think this really isn't about who had it harder at the end of the day. It's about who's going to have it worse if we don't figure this shit out together. So, if you're younger, grind smart, stay sharp and keep your heart intact. If you're older, retire in peace, but don't forget, we're not entitled brats. We're not the ones carrying the weight you left behind, and we're not asking for sympathy. We're just asking for a little bit of understanding, and maybe finally, a little respect. That's all I have to say, guys. Catch you on the next one.